Welcome everyone to this video. In this video, I'll be telling you about color grading in Photoshop. There will be two different examples. First would be this one and the second would be this one. It's gonna be an exciting video, so let's start. So first we'll be doing color grading on this image. So let's go to adjustments and then brightness and contrast. And now let's increase the contrast just a little bit like this. So here you can see the difference. And then let's go to adjustments and then go to curves. So first I'll be making this image just a little bit darker. No, this is too much. Just a little bit like that. And then from RGB, I'll go to red curves. Now these are the curves for red. So here you can see if I move this dot upwards, the hues change into a reddish tint. And if I move this dot to the right, you can see the hues change into cyan, and that is because cyan is the opposite or the complementary color of red. So I want a little bit cyan. So I want mostly cyan in this image because we are doing a cinematic color grading, and in cinematic color grading the main colors should be cyan and orange. So let's crank up the cyan and make a dot right here and move it just a little bit upwards to have a little bit red left like this. So here you can see it's done a pretty big change. And then we can go to adjustments and then vibrance, and then let's increase the saturation just a little bit and increase the vibrance too, like this. You can see the change. And then let's go to adjustments and then color balance. And now let's move this handle to cyan and let's move this handle to green. And now let's move this handle, instead of blue because we have already did cyan, let's move this handle to yellow like this. And let's move this hand just a little bit backwards, this green one too. And now let's decrease the opacity a little bit, like 75%, and move this vibrance layer upwards because this vibrance layer should affect all of these layers. And then let's go to adjustments and color lookup, and then let's find some color lookup that we like. Let's just scroll and find something that we like. I'm really liking this one. I think this might be our winner. So let's go to opacity and reduce it like this. 68 is enough. And now let's go to a new layer and go to brush, and then get a big brush like about 2000 pixels and the hardness to 0. And the shortcut I'm using is Alt right click, and then if we move our mouse sideways, we increase and decrease the size of our brush, and if we move our mouse upwards and downwards, we play with the brush's hardness. So let's keep the hardness 0 and the size to 2000 pixels, and then choose the foreground color to be a beautiful cyan. And here you can see there's a lot of oranges and reds here. So let's just paint out cyan here like this. And then let's go to a new layer, and here you can see, just wait. So let's pick the foreground color to be orange. So you can see there's a lot of blues here. So let's paint this all out in orange. The sky and this photographer like this. And now let's select these two layers by holding down Shift and then choose any blending mode that we like. So the two blending modes that work are overlay and soft light. So here in this case soft light is working, so I'll just pick soft light, and then we can reduce their opacity to maybe about 40% or let's say 35%. And now let's group these and see what changes they are making. So here you can see they are making pretty big changes. And then we can go to a new layer, zoom out, make the brush size a little bit bigger like this, and press D to have black in our foreground color. And then let's just paint out a vignette and paint the most vignette in these edges like this. And this. And now let's hit Ctrl 0 to fit this image on our screen, and let's reduce the opacity of this vignette to about 65%. And I think we should decrease the opacity of this orange and blue layer. So let's select these and maybe till let's say 20 or 25. Yeah, that's looking good. And now let's group all of these layers like this, and here you can see we have finished our first color grade. So now we'll be doing color grading on this picture. So let's go to adjustments, brightness and contrast, increase the contrast, and I think decrease the brightness because there's a lot of brightness in this image. And then let's go to adjustments and curves. Now let's go to the red curves. So here in this image we need both the cyan and red. So let's move this dot to the right and make another dot and move it up so that we have a lot of red and cyan in our image like that. And then let's go to vibrance, and let's increase the vibrance and decrease the saturation just a little bit, like -5. And now let's go to adjustments again, and this time let's go to color balance. And I told you that we want cyan and red both, so we'll be making 2 color balance. So first would be color balance, in which there would be cyan, magenta, and blue like that. And then adjustments, color balance, red, magenta, and a little bit of yellow. And now let's select both of these color balances and reduce the opacity to about 65%. And here you can see these color balances are doing quite a bit of change. And then we have the color lookup, so we can pick any one. So I always like these ones, these Fuji Eterna Kodak. So let's see. Oh, this one is really good. I'll just keep this one and reduce the opacity till about an 80%. Now let's create a new layer and choose the foreground to be blue, and let's go to our paintbrush tool and paint out blue here because we have a lot of oranges here. So let's paint out blue here and next, and create a new layer again and pick the color to be hot pink like that, and paint it and paint like this, like there's a lot of blue on this road, so some hot pink, and then create a new layer and we'll add yellow just for fun. So some yellow here, the remaining parts like this, and some here. And now let's select all of these layers and choose soft light, and then reduce the opacity to about, let's say, 50% like that, or even more. So let's say 40%. 40% opacity is looking good. And then create a new layer, zoom out, make the brush size bigger like this. 5,000. No, 5,000 is very big. Let's 3,000. And press D to have the foreground color to be black. And let's create a vignette. And let's have the most vignette here in the edges. Like this. And now let's go to our move tool. Let's hit Ctrl 0, and then let's decrease the opacity of this vignette. And now let's group all of these layers, and our second color grading is done. Please consider subscribing to our channel because it would help us immensely. Brainy Brothers are signing off for now. Bye bye. See you soon.